Hold on.
I didn't hold on. Live. You're live on the show. I clicked live. You said hold on as I was clicking it. What's up,
Listen,
guys?
actually,
Mr. Greg sounds like he's coming out of the shower or something with this audio.
Wait, what?
Bro, you sound like you're in the bathroom or something. I'm trying to fix my light here too.
All right, give me 1 sec.
Bro, you sound like you're trying not to drop the soap right now.
Have you seen that one video of the guy in the bathroom, and he goes into like the well, he doesn't go into it, but he like looks under that little patch that's open of like the handicap stall, and some guy, he hears the guy knocking on the door. He drops his phone. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know.
No. Well, anyway, disregard, I guess.
Shit, dude, this light's so pink. What's up, guys? As I have these lights rotating until I can find the perfect red, we have some news for y'all. Look, Kanye, did you hear what happened with him? Did you hear what happened with
Kanye? You mean the cousin thing?
The cousin thing. We got the cousin thing going on.
Yeah, that's a thing. That's definitely a thing.
It's one of the things of all time. Now,
for sure.
We have Kanye. Hold on. We have Maha, Make America Healthy Again. We have the banning by the FDA of food dyes. I don't know if you heard about this, Mr. Greg.
I heard about Red 40, but I thought that already happened.
It already happened with Red 3, but now it's happening with all food dyes, with most of them, petroleum-based food dyes. We're going to get into that, okay? We're going to get into, obviously the Kanye cousin stuff. We're going to get into Myron Gaines going to college campuses. I don't know if you've seen this.
I was actually watching part of that earlier.
Why did my lights dim so much? Jesus.
That's a valid question.
Dude, I don't know what's happening with these lights. Oh my God, I'm staring directly into it. Oh.
I'm new.
I need a break. Oh, I need a break. Okay. Anyway, all this and more on
the podcast ever.
The podcast ever. So what have you been up to, Mr. Greg? How's your last... Oh, I don't know what happened to him. I don't know why he left the stage. There we go. Do I look better like this?
What?
Do I look better like this? I look like deep fried.
Well, what?
I look deep fried. Are you saying that's better?
Why is this not connecting?
Do I look better when I look like I'm submerged in the sun?
You can hear me, right?
Yeah.
And it sounds better?
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay, this is weird, dude.
What?
The audio
aspect
is
of it
coming
is
out
weird?
of my not headphones.
Okay.
But
Do you like how I
on
look
now.
deep fried though?
Mildly. Not like aggressively deep fried like I'm used to.
I mean, I look like I'm out of, I don't know, man. Fucking, I don't know. I look like I'm in a thermal imaging fucking camera or something.
Like Predator is watching you?
Yeah, Predator. I didn't know Diddy watches this stream. Okay, now I hear a little bit of a very faint echo of me in the back. I don't know if you, maybe that's what you're talking about. With it not being from your headphones.
Hold on.
Okay, guys. Bear with us. Bear with us here. Okay, I don't know what happened to Greg. I don't know why his audio is gone. Anyway, first of all, Maha, Make America Healthy Again. The movement, is it going? Is this a wave, folks? Is America going to get healthy? Is that going to happen? Let's see. So the FDA has announced, it has put out a statement that it is to phase out petroleum-based synthetic dyes in the nation's food supply.
Oh.
That is so. I can show you. I'm going blind here. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, I'm going to show you guys at the risk of me going blind. what's going on here. Hold on. Let me change to a classic. Okay. Anyway, so we're going to take a look at this. I'm going to screen share this one. So the FDA, the HHS, FDA, my bad. Did I say FFA? Anyway, FDA to phase out petroleum-based synthetic dyes in nation's food supply. This is an immediate release, press release from April 22nd, 2025. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and U.S. Food and Drug Administration today has announced a series of new measures to phase out all petroleum-based synthetic dyes from the nation's food supply. A significant milestone in the administration's broader initiative to make America healthy again. See, they put Maha there. Anyway, the FDA is taking the following actions. So basically, they're going to establish a national standard and timeline to phase this out. They're initiating the process to revoke authorization for 2 synthetic food colorings, citrus red number 2 and orange B, within the coming months. Working with industry to eliminate 6 remaining synthetic dyes, FD&C green number 3, FD&C red number 40. You know, it's like, you know how Brendan says from Santa Cruz Medicinals, man, those crumble cookies have a shit ton of red 40. Anyway, let's see. So we got FD&C yellow number 5, FD&C yellow number 6, FD&C blue number 1, not blue 42, blue number 2, okay, from the food supply by the end of next year. So, folks, you're only going to be poisoned until the end of 2026 by food dyes. Let me mention, not specifically. So anyway, authorizing 4 new natural color additives in the coming weeks. I mean, I don't know exactly where they're going to get those from. I don't know how there has been unauthorized natural food additives, right? I mean, like if it was coming from, I don't know, because the lollipops I buy, those are like some juices and stuff and extract from vegetables and fruit. So I don't know exactly what they're adding to this list of authorizations. Who knows if they'll, maybe they'll talk about that eventually, but it seems kind of weird if there was something natural that you couldn't already use it until now, but okay. Partnering. Sorry.
Insects.
Yes, true. I forgot about that actually. And you're right. They're going to start putting crushed up bugs in people's food instead of these food dyes here. All right. So you're going to start eating the bugs. That's what you're going to do. They're going to partner with the National Institutes of Health. I didn't know it was institutes. I thought it was Institute of Health. Okay. They're partnering with the NIH to conduct comprehensive research on how food additives impact children's health and development. Okay, so they're going to talk about how, the autism aspect of this. Requesting food companies to remove FD&C red number 3 sooner than the 2027 to 2028. And this is just a request. So, obviously they gave them an actual deadline here that, who knows when that's going to happen. But sooner than the 2027 to 2028 deadline previously required. For too long, and this is a quote, by the way, for too long, some food producers have been feeding Americans petroleum-based chemicals without their knowledge or consent, said HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. These poisonous compounds offer no nutritional benefit and pose real, measurable dangers to our children's health and development. That era is coming to an end. We're restoring gold standard science. Oh, shit. I know you guys can't see this, but I just fucked up my lights. I had it on red and I fucked it up. I accidentally touched it. Hold on. I gotta lock that in again. Okay, I got that. You guys didn't see that part, but that kind of bothers me when I do that. I just hit it. It's so stupid that you can't just is there a lock option on this? I don't even know. I'm trying to see. I don't even think you can lock in a color. Well, that sucks. Anyway, I don't know who designed that stupid remote. Some Chinese asshole. Okay, so let's see. These poisonous, we talked about that. That era is coming to an end. We're restoring gold standard science, applying common sense, and beginning to earn back the public's trust. Remember that line. And we're doing it by working with industry to get these toxic dyes out of the foods our families eat every day. And so it says the FDA is fast tracking the review of calcium phosphate, Gardenia blue, butterfly pea flower extract, and other natural alternatives to synthetic food dyes. So we should look into those. But, let's see. Calcium phosphate. Let me check that out. It's a solid white solid found in bones, teeth, milk. Yeah, I mean that part isn't so bad. That's you're getting calcium there. They're getting it from animal bones. Cool. Let's see. Where else are they going to get it from? What other kind of bones? Galdiaria extract blue. Let's see that one. Let me see that one. Let me check out that one for you folks. That one comes from an algae. Questionable. Usually when it comes, something comes from plants. It could go either way. Let's see. Gardenia blue. Let me look that one up. That one's derived from the fruit of the Gardenia jasminoides plant, also known as Cape jasmine. Okay. Let's see. Butterfly pea flower extract. They also said other natural alternatives, so that could be bugs too, folks. That doesn't rule out the bugs.
Bugs.
Where are they getting? What is this? Butterfly pea? What is that? I'm not like urine, but like, what is this? It's a flower. Okay.
That'd be pretty funny.
Imagine this butterfly pea. Urine. Yeah, they have like, how like Mr. Krabs had the jellyfish. How Mr. Krabs had that jellyfish factory where he's like squeezing all the jam out of them. Instead, it's like RFK Jr. cycling as like they squeeze the piss out of butterflies. Give it all you got. Dance. Okay. Oh, I'm getting this butterfly piss. Oh, it's gonna be so good. Tastes so yummy. Okay.
The butterfly piss is actually much more healthy for you than the other shit we got rid of.
I like the taste of butterfly piss. It reminds me of when I eat on my wife. Okay. So
do butterflies even piss?
I would say they do, no?
I would think
I couldn't imagine an animal not pissing.
I mean, insects are animals, but like loosely.
Wow. No, apparently butterflies don't urinate the same way we do. They don't have kidneys and they don't produce urine. They excrete waste fluids often after drinking excessively. This excretion is called puddling and consists of primarily, how do they puddle? What is this? Let's see.
I don't like
They often engage, especially males for some reason. They drink large quantities of water from puddles or other sources to obtain essential salts and minerals. But what do they do with the fluid? Hold on. Excess fluid. After drinking and absorbing nutrients, butterflies expel fluids often as a fine mist or spray from their abdomen. Whoa. I mean, so that's kind of pee. That is pee. It says not urine, but it's a watery substance containing some salts and minerals. But what's really the difference between that and pee? What's really the difference?
I'm guessing it doesn't come out of a phallus.
Okay. Yeah, I see. I wish when I eat her out, she would give me a fine mist spray after to cool me down. I mean, it's a lot of work on the jaw. It's a lot of work, and she doesn't give me credit for it. I mean, I would just like a cool down. Okay. So,
it's like the shake weight.
After it's done. Okay.
Sleep mode.
This is another quote. Today, the FDA is asking food companies to substitute petrochemical. Is this RFK again? I wonder, because if it is, I could just do the voice. Today, the FDA is asking food companies to substitute petrochemical dyes and natural ingredients for American children, as they already do in Europe and Canada. That wasn't RFK, actually. It was FDA Commissioner Marty McCary.
Maybe he just happens to talk exactly like him.
Yeah. He was actually created in a lab after RFK took office. RFK realized, he only has so much time left after having done all that cunnilingus, and, he has a limited time on this planet. So we have a new epidemic of childhood diabetes, obesity, depression, and ADHD. Given the growing concerns of doctors and parents about the potential role of petroleum-based food dyes. We should not be taking risks and do everything possible to safeguard the health of our children. So yeah, that's what we're looking at here, folks. Hold on, let me get this back on. That's what we're looking at here, folks. I'm still deep fried. I forgot about that part. Hold on. Can I get this a little more realistic? I just like the real light coming in from the door crack is kind of like making me look evil.
I wish I had like the software available to just like distort your voice as if like Predator was actually looking at you. Just replaying it over and over again.
Nice. Okay. So let's see here. We're not transitioning to Kanye yet, so I'm not going to do that until we actually do. But so this was a Fox News article that was talking about the same thing. I guess they were reporting on, basically the facts of this case, supposedly. But anyway, yeah, I think they just restated a lot of it. I don't know if they really added much. I think they might have just restated exactly what the FDA put out. But apparently there's a quote from RFK Jr. on actual, Fox News when he was talking to Jesse Walters. It's not Walters, it's Waters. Sorry, Waters. Jesse Waters with 2 T's. I don't know what kind of last name that is. But hold on, let's look it up. I just need to see what the origin of that last name is.
Walters?
I need to know what it means. No, Waters.
Of the water?
Is it? But it's 2 T's.
That is strange, actually.
Exactly.
Ates?
It is. He has some Irish ancestry on his father's side.
Waters.
Yeah, apparently. Right? He grew up in Germantown neighborhood of upper northwest Philadelphia and then later moved to East Falls neighborhood of the lower northwest of the city. Are they really like interviewing him to know all this, or are they just looking up his like background info?
I actually do wonder how they get some of this info.
Let's see. So that's all we really got. I don't even know what. Maybe it is of the water or something. Waters. Meaning. Person who lives near water. It can be of Scottish, English, or Irish origin. The name could also be a variant of Atwater, which refers to someone living at a place called water. Atwater.
Atwood?
Atwater. Wasn't that what was the fucking yeah, it was like Frank's business, right? In Sunny. I'm trying to remember. It was. Charlie's like, what does Atwater do? And he's like, we make money. He's like, but what exactly do they do? I already told you, we make money. Yeah, so RFK Jr., I actually skipped the quote because I was focused on Jesse Waters here. He told Fox News host Jesse Waters that the Trump administration, sorry?
There's 2 T's, so it's not Waters, it's Waters.
Oh, sorry. Waters. Okay. He told Fox News host Jesse Waters that the Trump administration is working to give kids real food again. This is an RFK Jr. quote, so I mean, I'm going to have to do it. We've got the highest chronic disease burden of any country in the world. When my uncle was president, he got shot in the fucking head. 3% of Americans have chronic disease. Today it's 60, he said. 74% of our kids cannot qualify for military service. We have fertility rates that are just spiraling. That's true. That is true. Wow. So chronic disease shot from, no pun intended, during JFK, 3% to 60%. Let's see. So that actually is a lot. Actually, is that like, wow, 60%? That's actually almost all of them. That's 60. That's 60. You know, that's fucking that's above a majority right there. Have chronic disease. Kids. Oh no, sorry, it's not kids. It's the Americans in general. I'm sorry, I read that wrong. I thought he was, because he said he wanted to make kids eat real food again. Then I was reading the rest of it. I was doing that stupid ass impression, and I just kind of skipped past the fact that it actually is just Americans in general. Okay. I was like, if it was kids, that would say a lot, because it would be worse when they grow up. But either way, 60% is a lot. I think that's obesity rate is around there. And I mean, that does count as like chronic disease, because you're just, I mean, you're sick. Let's see.
60% now?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Let me see obesity rate in America. In 2023, 43% of U.S. adults were considered obese, with 9.4% experiencing severe obesity. So I guess that includes obesity, and then on top of that, like just chronic disease in general. But yeah, that's actually a lot. 74% of our kids cannot qualify for military service. That's the part that I was reading the kids. So apparently 74% of their kids are, our kids, America's kids. I mean, I guess it's their kids if you think about it. They could take them wherever they want. Anyway, cannot qualify for military service, meaning they're out of shape. They're not very healthy. Maybe they have asthma. And then we have fertility rates that are just spiraling, meaning, downward, of course. And it's true. I mean, that part's true, but it's also just like, I mean, between the fact that it's about chronic disease and also just where society is as a whole, I mean, it's just, it's a lot worse than just that number. Let's see. The former 2024 independent, president candidate noted that the ingredients in Fruit Loops 20 years ago were very different than those of today. Today, we use chemicals in Fruit Loops that are banned in virtually every country in the world. So if you buy Fruit Loops today in Canada, it is made with vegetable dyes. If you buy it here in the United States, it is made with petroleum synthetics, RFK Jr. explained. And let me actually pull up a tweet here. I don't know. I don't think I put it in my collection of things for the night, but it is relevant as well. And there are some relevant stuff from RFK Jr. himself that I will also show, because it actually holds some weight here too, in terms of how much we can sort of even take what he's saying completely, at face value or not. But I will pull up this other tweet, at least on the side of what RFK Jr. is talking about, because we do agree with the premise, like that, it's a problem. These things are a problem and they're not good for you. But I guess part of what we would be talking about as far as like where maybe we see the issue is priorities. Like, obviously this is, you want to get this stuff out of the food, but I mean, it's like, seed oils are also a huge thing that not enough people, even though it's catching like, some wind, not enough people are talking about it. And even on top of that, you're seeing restaurants make these changes, but they're not really, getting rid of like the deodorants and like all these anti-foaming agents and stuff in their oils, even if it is tallow. And then, like, what's to say if the government bans something, they're not going to use even worse things, like, or something, a preservative that we're not even really aware of. Because when BPA was a huge fuss, they got rid of BPA, but then they used BPS, which is actually worse for you. So that's not to say that just because they're getting rid of, these food dyes, that there isn't something out there that could be considered even natural, or some other chemical where they're like, oh, this is like, this is fine though, that could actually be worse for your health or have worse outcomes overall. So that's definitely a problem to take a look at. But I think one other relevant point being made here, as far as like, what we could say, at least on the side of this, where people are pointing out that this is an issue to begin with, and, this is something we can, agree with, is just that, like when people are saying, and let me just pull up a response to one of the tweets related to this article. So I'm just going to take this, I just saw some woman, I don't know who Nancy Mace is. I don't know if she's some, let's see, former Waffle House waitress, and she's a congresswoman. Okay, whatever. I don't really care about that lady, but anyway, this is the relevant tweet as far as a series of tweets we're about to take a look at here. So let me do this. Okay, just so we have some good connection here. She says, get the chemicals out of our food. Valid point. We don't want these chemicals in our food, right? Like, they're not good for you, obviously. I think most people can agree on the fact that, the synthetic food dyes, petroleum-based food dyes, are not really great. That it would probably be ideal to use a natural, Like, even if we're just doing it from the premise of, oh, natural is better, vegetable and fruit. I mean, I feel like that's somewhere we can find common ground with most people other than, retards. Speaking of retards, this guy here, Simon Mackling or Machling, whatever. Hi, PhD chemist here. Literally everything is made of chemicals. Okay. And then we have Seamus from Freedom Tunes talking here in response, which he actually brought up a pretty good point. He brings up a pretty good retort here. He says the first quote is just somebody saying, I want to quit drinking. And then it's parodying this guy's tweet, the Simon guy. Hi, nutritionist here. Literally every time you consume liquid, you're technically drinking. If you really wanted to stop drinking, you would die. And so he says, Seamus's response is, how can people find this pedantic nonsense clever or interesting? Very good point, because it's like
Reddit tier response. It's actually retarded. It's like,
hey there, bud. Literally everything has chemicals in it. What are you talking about? That these chemicals are the bad ones? That doesn't make any sense. What's your argument for that?
Yeah, it's
how about you drink sulfuric acid? That's a chemical.
They're incapable of understanding the implied context. It's almost like an autist thing.
Let's see. Yeah, but anyway, I mean, it's just you could defeat his whole argument by just saying, why don't you drink something poisonous? Oh, it's just a chemical, bro. It's just a chemical, bro. But he's gonna be like, oh, well, that's not good for you. You know what else isn't good for you? Anyway, so I think that guy's a retard. We're gonna continue. What?
Squid Game.
Uncle Ben, what happened? Squid Game. Let's see here. Yeah, so we have some RFK Jr. facts about this man, just more so stuff he said in relation to this, because obviously we can see that he's on the right track as far as what he's saying. At least, listening to him, you could think, wow, he's saying some stuff that I agree with. But we could pull up a few other things from him that make it seem like, well, I don't know about that 100%. So let's pull this up first of all. So first of all, we just have Anabology here talking about the news. And he's saying, you guys don't know what this means for the honey diet. Nearly all candy will become kosher. I don't know why he went from using things like halal and talking about Muhammad to kosher. I don't know why you kind of did that move, bro. You were talking about those stuff before. Now you're talking about, I don't know. But anyway.
He was talking about halal.
We're just going to talk about this clip that somebody replied with. Yeah, he's been saying he doesn't eat pork, and he I remember showing that Muhammad quote he put up on his Twitter, and I'm sure he said these things aren't halal. I'm pretty sure I remember something like that from him, basically saying it that way.
You get a lot of thiamine from pork, though.
I guess he just doesn't want to eat it.
It's weird.
Can.
But here is RFK Jr. Here is a quote from him just as of late that will be relevant to what we're going to talk about now.
Can. Where we can't, there's things that we'll never be able to eliminate, like sugar.
And you hear this, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can. Where we can't, there's things that we'll never be able to eliminate, like sugar. And sugar is poison. And Americans need to know that. It is poisoning us. It's giving us a diabetes crisis. When
sugar! It's evil. It's giving us diabetes. Americans need to stop eating it. It's poison.
Do you think there will ever be a point where they'll just kind of admit, hey guys, yeah, we were entirely wrong about everything regarding sugar? Because they're tripling down on this shit.
I don't know. But it's become this whole fad, as we can see, this whole craze about, being anti-sugar because this is the poison. This is the poison. I mean, obviously you can say is it energy dense? Yes. Is it going to if you just pour it on top of the standard American diet, Is it probably going to make people fat because they're just eating a shit ton of seed oils? And then it's like, at the same time, the body can't use up both. So like the seed oils have like ruined your cells and their ability to metabolize sugar. Sure. But that's what's happening. It's not the sugar that's poisoning you. It's the fact that like you've become diabetic from the seed oils. You can't process the glucose anymore. You can't process any of it. Your liver can't process the fructose because you fucked it up with the PUFAs. This is the problem. But they don't realize that. But then you have, like, we've shown him on stream, or, like at least we've shown his videos. Cole Robinson, he talks about it. He used to do 1 meal a day, talking about like, oh, you just need to fast fatty. Like you need to do all that. And then he starts saying, hey, fatty, how about you use some sugar to get lean? How about you go on a sugar fast? Because he's saying you will get crazy energy just from this amount of sugar. It's true. Like he has valid points when he says, you're getting way much more like, usable, clean energy, especially for workouts, than you are by eating nothing, which at that point you're just eating off of your own fat or just eating fat itself, as opposed to just eating this preferable thing to the body. This is literally what the body prefers to burn. So you're using that in quantities that will help you, live your day, exercise, do things like that. And then you can include protein as well. You can include starch, things that are going to help give you that satiety signal, things that are going to, help you out, of course, and not just like burning through everything, right? But, obviously just limiting the dietary fat, because, first of all, vegetable oils, seed oils, these things have become prominent as diabetes has risen. These things have become prominent as obesity has risen. There are so many reasons to believe that these things are responsible. Like the fact that polyunsaturated fats, which are in seed oils, are things that are heavy in nuts and other things that animals eat to get fat for the winter, or fish use in their tissue to not freeze. These are things that animals use when they have to be in a lower metabolic state in order to survive the winter. And that's why it's making, basically people it's turning them like into hibernators. It's turning them into constant hibernators, which Brad Marshall even talks about this. Look him up, Fire in a Bottle. He talks about how we're in torpor because of this, because of seed oils. And so when you have these oils that are heavy in polyunsaturated fats, making, over supplying our body's inflammatory signals, making it so that we're just inflamed. Yeah, of course, you're not going to be able to eat sugar at that point, or at least, if you don't just stop eating the seed oils and, basically unblock your metabolism, make your cells able to be insulin sensitive. That's the point. We need to become insulin sensitive. And sugar can help that in isolation. But if you're just adding it on, like I said, to the standard American diet, yeah, that's why it doesn't make much sense. But they're blaming it for that. They're blaming it for the root cause. It's not the root cause.
Again, I just don't understand how they would get past like the fruit and fruit juice argument.
But that's the thing. They're starting to say, well, fruit juice isn't good because it doesn't have the fiber, which slows down the sugar into the body, because then you're going to get hungry. You're going to get hungry if you're drinking fruit juice or eating sugar. You're going to get hungry and eat more. That's going to be what it does. And yeah, if you're eating a diet heavy in sucrose, you're going to be hungrier. But that's the problem becomes when you start binging on things like pizza and ice cream and things that, unless you're eating smaller quantities of them and natural, sources, not a bunch of gums and stuff. But obviously people are just going for the trash. And even so, they're probably binging way more than they need of that stuff just because of how much they're craving it. If they were to give that up, because obviously even polyunsaturated fats themselves are messing with the satiety signal. So when you're liberating a lot of that back into your system, you're basically still eating a high fat diet, high PUFA diet. And then you're fucking yourself up even more at that point if you're not doing it properly.
I'm just saying, bro, if they start fucking with my sugar, I'm going nuclear.
Well, I don't know. Maybe they'll, it's one thing to mess with the sugar subsidies, right? But I don't know if they're going to come after sugar. They might cut that compared to corn subsidies or something, but I don't know. And then sugar prices may as well go up.
Might as well.
That was not the right. I was on the wrong soundboard.
Might as well.
It switched back to the OG soundboard on that one. But yeah, it's just, I get why people have been tricked, or I get how people have been tricked, I should say, into believing this. And obviously if you put actual logical thought into all of this, you can see it for what it is. But when people are just repeating what they've been told, or they're repeating the consensus, they're coming to these conclusions that it's bad for you. That we can go on this conversation for a while about why this is erroneous, why this is wrong. I don't know if can you say erroneous? I don't know. But why this is just not a good argument, or these arguments aren't good, why they're flawed.
I mean, yeah, you can say erroneous. It's not like
Yeah.
a slur or whatever.
No, I was just saying, is that proper? Anyway, but
I think so.
yeah, I think so. But anyway, point being, I remember I heard an Indian say that, so I don't know if I should really be repeating things I hear Indians say, but I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, RFK Jr. believes sugar is bad on top of believing food dyes are bad, which the food dye valid. You know, synthetic food dyes are bad. Seed oils bad, but I was going to show another tweet. Greg, you can go on here, but I was going to show another tweet about how RFK Jr. might not even believe that completely.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if it were the case that he's like gung ho on anti-sugar, which it seems like he is. How much of that is his earnest beliefs, and how much of that is, I don't know, someone else's beliefs that he's been paid to adopt?
I don't know, man. I mean, like, I could see it from a perspective of he just follows the consensus on this stuff. And so, like, you know, he's just kind of, you know, therefore saying, oh, well, you know, that's why it's bad. But at the same time, he was saying before that Mexican Coke was actually preferable to high fructose corn syrup. So why did he get to the point where he's now saying sugar is actually poison? Shouldn't that be like, you know, he should just be saying, well, guys, sugar's not the best thing and kids are eating a lot of it. Now he's saying, like, absolutely it's poison.
There's something weird about cane sugar in particular. Whenever I bring up cane sugar to normies, they're like, oh, well, cane sugar is fine. But if I say like white sugar or brown sugar or whatever, then they start throwing a fit. I don't know what it is about that in particular, though.
I don't know, man. And sometimes it's even like the cane sugar, but then you can say coconut sugar. It's like, oh, but that's healthy. That's healthy though. Or agave nectar, that's actually good for you. But that, you know, because it's low glycemic. You know why it's low glycemic? Because of the fructose. And you know what? It's not actually as low carb of a sweetener as they say. It's just sweeter than you normally would taste something. So maybe you'll use less of it. Maybe if your body doesn't get you hungrier after your metabolism is getting ramped up by the fructose. But, you know, maybe because you're eating all that slop on top of it. But point being is that this is actually not lower calorie than honey. This is actually not lower calorie than sugar. Per tablespoon, agave is higher calorie than sugar. It's higher carb per sugar or per spoon. Sugar is actually lower carb per spoon if you want to say that. What you could say, sugar is an alternative, a low carb alternative to honey. Sugar is a low carb alternative to agave.
Yeah, but sugar's bad.
Oh, but it's bad. Doesn't matter how many calories of it you eat. Doesn't matter. You can eat 1 calorie to 20,
bad,
whatever.
But I know it's bad.
I was told it was bad. I saw a lot of fat people eat it because they were eating all those donuts. And you know what donuts are made of? Pure sugar, nothing else. No oil. They don't fry those things. They don't fry those things
out of sugar. Like you take sugar and you just like mold it a little bit, then it turns into a donut. That's how it happens.
Oh, you know those breakfast muffins where it's like mostly flour and then they use a shit ton of oil and then like they're sugared. That's why it's bad. If they just remove that, it would be great for you. Flour and oil. I could eat that all day.
You know, actually, the reason that fast food is so horrible for you, even though it's all savory food, is because they're frying it in oil, but they put sugar in the oil, and the sugar is getting into it.
Yeah, there's secret sugar that they don't tell you about. Well, no, that's because the fast food companies are actually putting, to an extent, you could say like, okay, MSG, that's something that they actually use where it's like making it more tasty on purpose and stuff like that, and they bioengineer this stuff. But like, really, the satiety signals are being broken because of all that damn oil, dude. Like they are literally breaking you at a mitochondrial level to eat more. I mean, and you know, whether companies acknowledge this or not, or whether they're aware of this or not, it's happening. So it's good for their business, I guess. But, you know, like you just got to pay attention to that rather than focus on all these little, chemical formulations and stuff they use to make it like crack. It's like, dude, I mean, come on. The answer's right in front of you.
But it can't, like, I've been told my entire life. They wouldn't lie to me.
It's healthy. It's good for your heart. It lowered my cholesterol.
That's true. That's what happened.
My LDL went down. How can you refute that? How can you refute that evidence? My LDL went down. The number went down.
Remember, it's only important if number goes down, it's bad. But if good number go up.
Yeah. Bro, I was in a caloric deficit and I lost weight eating donuts. I lost weight eating seed oils in a caloric deficit. It's good. It's equal. It's equal to food that's real. It's equal to beef. I can eat as many calories of donuts as I could of beef and still lose weight. A calorie is a calorie.
That's how it happens. That's indeed how it happens.
You know, that's like the whole like Mike Israel tell thing where he says that. He literally just like, he's like, yeah, bro, just eat cereal. Just eat cereal. Oh, it's fine, bro. It's the same calories. It's the same calories. You can eat Popeyes.
Brain dead take.
You can eat Popeyes. It's just like you know, like chicken breast and rice. Popeyes.
Maybe that's why he had to do that surgery. Maybe, but of course, calories are calories. So, what do I know?
Okay, but anyway, I was going to share this post of RFK Jr. from a while back. I don't know if I've shown this one on the show, but basically, what he talks about here, you know, because he's looking at, you know, this farm where they're talking about what they do to make natural cold pressed seed oils. And he's saying, I'm paying close attention. Well, this is RFK Jr. I'm paying close attention to the seed oil issue, but a bigger issue is industrial food replacing local, diverse, minimally processed natural food produced by small and mid-sized farms and ranches. Right. And so what he's trying to say there is, well, if it's minimally processed, it's better. It's better for you if it's minimally processed. It must be. How could you tell me that these oils that are cold pressed from the seeds themselves are actually bad too? Possibly even worse for you. It doesn't make sense. So anyway, this farm nigga says, I've been hard on seed oils lately and for good reason. However, not all seed oils are created equal. And it's important to bring some nuance to the conversation. The quality of seed oils largely depends on the processing methods used. And this applies to the modern seed oil industry as much as it does to traditional methods. One key factor in determining the quality of oils is through organoleptic testing, a term that refers to using our senses to assess quality. What does your oil look like? What does it smell like? How does it taste? Cold-pressed oils are processed too, but they follow methods that have been used for millennia. Today, many oils look and smell almost identical because industrial processes involve bleaching, deodorizing, and high heat extraction, using solvents to achieve that uniformity. However, beneath that uniform appearance, these oils vary drastically in nutrient density and antioxidant quality. Historically, our ancestors used pack animals and manual tools made from stone or wood to crush seeds and extract oils, methods that were much simpler than today's industrial techniques. Evidence of these practices dates back over 5,000 years to the ruins of the Harappan civilization. Oils extracted this way were much richer in nutrients, although they had shorter shelf lives. Fast forward to today, and we've outsourced these processes, trading nutrient density for shelf stability in the name of progress. Unfortunately, this shift has contributed to the decline of our overall health. Modern oils aren't produced with nutrient density in mind. Okay, so anyway, you get this whole purpose, right? I'm not going to read this whole thing. But anyway,
went from like Ash to Brock to Yoda. That was crazy, dude.
Anyway, this guy's talking about this like cold pressed oils, man. Like he's literally just talking about like you have to crush your seeds with a rock. You should crush your seeds with a rock and then eat them, bro. That's exactly like forget about animal fats. Who eats those? Who eats those? I'm vegan. I need to crush my seeds. I need to extract this little smelly thing from my seeds and put it all over my food.
It's funny you mentioned that. How many people that are into crushing their seeds and using that as a lubricant for their food are also into CBT? I think there's possibly a huge overlap there. Crushing seeds.
Well, I like to crush my nuts with a big boulder like this one. And that's why I eat seed oils. It does the job for me. It does the job for me. It adds to my infertility. I don't have to keep crushing my nuts daily with a big boulder when I can just eat these things by crushing the seeds into fucking liquid that I can drink straight up or put on my salad. I put it on my lettuce. I drizzle it on my
concept
lettuce.
Of a salad actually disgusts me now. Like
I
before,
get
it was like
a
I'm not
big
going to eat that.
bowl. I get a big bowl of what was once rabbit food, and I put these crushed seeds all over it, and then I eat that, and it tastes nasty, but guess what? It's good for me.
You get the big salad.
Yeah, exactly. No, I make it creamy. I make my sauce
Pause.
creamy.
Pause.
I make it creamy. I take the oil. Forget about that taste. I put other shit in it. I make it creamy.
Ain't no salad like a Diddy salad.
What I do is the residue from the crushed testicles, when I crush the seeds as well, it makes it into a creamy sauce that I can eat. I have my girlfriend. She takes her heels, crushes them for me. My nuts, I mean. And then the seeds too, and puts them together into like a creamy paste that I eat as a salad.
A big salad. The big salad.
Big salad. That's how I love doing it, man. When you live in life with these crushed seeds, you don't even need balls where we're going. You don't even need balls. You don't need fertility where we're going.
It just seems a lot easier to get that out of milk than to crush a bunch of seeds. I'm just saying, like even
Milk
from a
is
practical
murder.
point of view.
Milk is murder.
I'm gonna murder you. That's a joke, by the way.
Yeah, that's a come on now. Let's be civil. But anyway,
I'm not civil. I'm not
I love just sucking seed down. That's what I love doing as a seed oil fanatic. I love sucking seed.
This is not gonna be great out of context.
Anyway, so speaking of that, Kanye and his cousin, Kanye, Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, has released a track entitled Cousins, another single for his upcoming album. The album was formerly called World War III. He has changed it to Cuck. I'm not kidding you. That's the new name of the album. And so in this single for the upcoming album, he claims that when he was a kid, and we're just going to read out his story. He gave...
he yearned for the mines?
No. He wasn't... I don't know. He let his cousin mine his mouth, I guess, is what you could say.
Jesus.
I'm just going to say that's how we've been presented with it. The song, according to Kanye, according to Ye, this song is called Cousin, about my cousin that's locked in jail for life for offing a pregnant lady a few years after I told him we wouldn't look at dirty magazines together anymore. Perhaps in my self-centered mess, I felt it was my fault that I showed him those dirty magazines when he was 6, and then we acted out what we saw. My dad had Playboy magazines, and let me just add context here. Kanye has already revealed that at the age of 6, he found his own dad's Playboy magazines. I think it was at the age of 6 as well. Kanye found his own dad's Playboy magazines, but that was like women and stuff in there. And then he said he's developed a porn addiction because of that. And it's been basically with him for life. But according to this, he said the magazines I found in the top of my mom's closet were different. So apparently his mom was looking at homosexual, adult magazines, adult content. And
you already said porn.
Whatever. We're going to keep it, a little lighter here, just for not to keep saying it over and over. His last 2 sentences were, my name is Ye. And again, this is Ye. And I, Ye, sucked my, Ye is saying this, cousin's dick till I, Ye, was 14. Tweet sent. So here's the thing. This is like in the middle of a lot of other stuff Kanye has said that he's been clearly doing for, like rage baiting. So to come out with this, obviously there are people saying like, oh, well, he's just, talking about his trauma and he's like moving past it. And maybe this is like kind of the step he needs to be able to move past this. I mean, there's even like a video from Nick Fuentes that we're going to watch where he talks about it. Because he responded to it. I don't even know. Can we even like watch that actually? I mean, I guess we can, right? Like he's been on like YouTube. I guess we can react to him. We're not having him on the show.
You can't have him on your show, right. But I think if you're reacting, you're probably fine.
Okay, fair enough. And then there were some other people reacting to this, but basically what I'm getting at here is And we'll actually listen to just a little bit of the song because I need to show part of it. But it might be copyrighted, so we just need to show a few seconds of it. I just need to show this section specifically, this little part for relevance, because I'll just read the rest of the lyrics out. Obviously adding context to who's saying those lyrics so it doesn't get clipped. So this is verse 1. Let me just say the verses from Kanye first, or at least, kind of give you what's going on here. So Kanye said he was hanging with his cousin. These are lyrics, but I'm kind of phrasing it as if it's like, from his perspective rather than, sounding like first person usage of pronouns. But anyway, he was hanging with his cousin, reading dirty magazines. They seen two niggas kissing. They ain't know what that shit mean. Then they started reenacting everything that they had seen. That's when he gave his cousin head. Gave his cousin head. Gave his cousin head. He gave his cousin head. He gave his cousin head. That was the verse. That was like the main part where Kanye actually talked about it. I mean, there's like another part where it's like Kanye's kind of singing. Oh, actually, no. Yeah. Actually, no. There is another verse about where he talks about it for real. And then there's like another part where it's Dave Blunt's. But anyway, verse 2, he said, and he knows these niggas about to judge him now. He knows these niggas about to judge him. Started off when they was hanging out. Told his cousin not to tell nobody. People told him take it to his grave. Truth will set you free someday. He doesn't think they understand that he's not attracted to a man. And then we're going to play that little like line right there. Actually, I want to show you what is said there. I don't know. Have you listened to the song?
I don't see where there would ever be a scenario where I'd ever do that.
Mr. Greg?
Hello?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. I kind of had I had a bit of a glitch right there. Did you say you caught it or no?
I said I don't see a scenario where I ever would have outside of this.
Okay. Well, I've like heard it, but I'm gonna play this part.
All right.
Did you hear that?
Part of it.
Okay, let me try going one back one more time, just to really get it in.
I don't think they understand that I'm not attracted to a man.
Did you hear that?
What was that last part? Like the like ad lib?
So that was from Playboi Carti's song called New Tank. And in the song, Playboi Carti says they thought I was gay. And then Kanye adds it into his own song. And actually, Kanye had a beef with Playboi Carti recently, but he still sampled Playboi Carti's song. And then he put like, I don't think they understand. And then, that he's not attracted to a man. And then they thought I was gay in the ad lib. So you're telling me, hold on. You're telling me. Yeah, Playboi Carti?
Yeah.
Oh, you one of them? Probably. I don't know. I think Carti's worn something like that before. I mean, Young Thug is the one that you might be thinking of.
No, I think it was Carti.
Maybe. Maybe. I just can't. Maybe Lil Uzi. Maybe. I don't know. I can think of probably an example of Carti. I just can't like pull it up, just from top of my head, know when it was or anything, but I could probably see that. But anyway, so the part that kind of gets me is like, he's like saying, this is like my serious experience and all that, but he's putting it on the album that's already kind of like, it has those other songs we were talking about. Like, I don't know. I don't think I might have not shown it on here. I think we were doing that in a Discord call, but there was one song where Kanye was on stream with somebody else and they were producing one. It's like, I'm in love with the nitrous. Like he's just talking about his addiction to nitrous, but then he's like talking about it over I'm in love with that cocoa sample and then putting nitrous over it. And then we already heard World War III. I mean, I don't think I definitely didn't play it on here actually.
Yeah.
But
do not.
I'm just going to say, if you haven't heard that, go listen to it. Okay. I'm not going to actually repeat any of that, because I just know where my limits are on YouTube. But even though it is on YouTube, but that's beyond me. That's beyond my power. But basically, there's a lot of edgy content in that. And so Kanye, in his or Ye, as he's calling himself even as an artist now, where he's releasing music, is releasing this album Cuck supposedly tomorrow. And he's gonna put that song on there, which is World War III, which says, things about a certain painter and says the N-word hard R and, all that. And so this was kind of getting people to listen to the music and laugh. And now he's putting this Cousins one on there. So it's kind of like meshing the admission that may actually be serious with all of this rage bait and saying it in the middle of it and potentially explaining his trauma away. But at the same time, it's in the middle of a lot of stuff that is meant to make people either be enraged at him or laugh. So it's kind of like, I don't know exactly how to take that as a statement, as far as the seriousness of it even.
Yeah.
But on top of that, what are your thoughts on somebody coming out because Fuentes, how about we just watch the Fuentes clip? How about we just watch the Fuentes clip, see the ASAP Ferg, and then we react to the actual content. I feel,
sure.
Because I've already given a little bit, but I just want to. Now I do need to skip part of the Fuentes thing because he does say the N-word hard R in that clip. Hold on.
Probably be better to be in love with the cocoa than the nitrous.
I'm not going to comment.
Fair enough.
Say that affectionately. That's a real ass nigga, and I
okay. He used the soft A there, by the way. That he used the hard R before this. If you want to go watch that clip,
love that man. So I stand, and he don't need me to stand with him. He put it out there.
I just need to make sure I can pause this at moment's notice because I actually haven't watched. I don't know if I've watched this upload or if I watched another one, but I definitely watched the full clip of Nick talking about it. I just want to make sure I can pause it at moment's notice in case I hear him say something like that again.
He doesn't need people to go, it's not a fucking political statement. Not everything's a fucking political statement. Not everyone's a fucking political construct. Fuck you, But I don't care. I still rock with it. That's a real human being, and I like it. I don't like it that it happened to him, obviously, but I like that he feels liberated to express himself like that and liberated from that, from a tormenting experience, to just put it out there and to be free. We're conditioned that people don't talk that way. People don't say this. People don't do that. Everybody's embarrassed. Everybody doesn't want to be made fun of. Everybody wants to be liked. I loved it just as much when he said 10 years ago, I only fear God, and I'm playing for audience of one. Just as much then as I do now when he's giving this confession. He's this tortured soul, clearly, with the expression over the past couple of years with the Hitler stuff, the mask, the sex stuff, it's like this is someone who's going through some turbulence. And, it's okay to not be okay. We're human. I know that's like a stupid heuristic, but it's like we're human beings. We get broken. We put ourselves back together. He's a human being going through it. Everybody goes through it. But when someone famous does, someone who doesn't look like us, because they're a rapper, because they're black, because they're celebrity, we're going to say, oh, that's crazy. That's crazy so-and-so. That's crazy nigger rap.
Oh, I missed that one.
God damn it.
I had no control over that.
Or what did, this guy's at it again. Fuck that. I don't mean to sound like too sentimental. I know maybe at pain of sounding too sentimental and sounding sappy, but it's just true. So that's how I feel about it. I'm a little compassionate towards him because I've seen him. I know him, and he's a very sweet person. He's a very sweet, soft-spoken person. And I see everybody picking on him. And, he takes what I admire about him is he's a sweet, at times very aggressive, but at times very soft-spoken guy. And he just takes on the whole world. He doesn't give a fuck what people think about him. He just puts it out there, and he lets people get mad or sad. And it's very inspiring to me as somebody who does the same thing a lot, who does the same thing frequently. You know, who am I? I'm like, outside of this live stream, I'm the most hated person. I'm the most misunderstood. I mean, right? Outside of this live stream where I have 13,000, 14,000 fans watching, outside of this, I'm the most hated, misunderstood person. And my fucking friends are throwing me under the bus.
Okay. So, I mean, we kind of get what he's trying to say there. Basically that he thinks that, this was a traumatic experience. I mean, no doubt it was. I mean, like, if you think about it, okay.
He is.
I don't know exactly what age Kanye was when this happened. Yeah, I don't know what. Yeah, exactly, that too. But I don't know what. And we're talking about Nick, of course, because a lot of people think they thought I was gay, you know. But basically, the thing about Kanye is that this happened to him. I don't know what age it started at, but I assume him and his cousin were of similar age because, you know, the way Kanye talks about growing up with his cousins, it sounds like they were of similar age enough to at least like, because he was basically talking about, and you're going to find this funny now that given this context, but you know, at the time when he was a little kid, they used to bathe together, like actually be bathed together by aunt or mother or whoever. You know, this is just like they put him in the same bath. Right. So like, obviously you would be of a similar age to be put in a bath together. But basically what's being said here is that Kanye, which he's saying this happened until he was 14. We're not sure when it exactly started. He didn't give us an exact timeline in that tweet, but assuming it's not some sort of case in which Kanye was 13 and the kid was like 7 or something or 6, if they were actually of similar age at the time, you know, Kanye finds these Playboy magazines of his father when he's like 6 because his father just leaves these around, and then his mother has them in a closet that are, you know, accessible enough for, you know, her son to find them. And you know, honestly, when you think about it, like, dude, that's fucked up. Like that his parents, you know, just were so lazy to not control this from being seen by him. And the fact is, like, when you're a kid, you're very impressionable. If we're talking about like 14-year-old Kanye, that's like where you kind of like, okay, well, he was doing it pretty late into his, like, you know, teenager years, but you know, to start as like a 6-year-old with all of this, and like that kind of corrupts your way of viewing what's right and wrong. And, you know, because of what you're exposed to at such a young age, the development is very much involved. Addiction is very much involved because it's happening at such an early age. And like, you're just so much more prone to that kind of behavior. So, I mean, overall, it's kind of like, I don't know, man. It's on the one hand, it's like, okay, well, he did it until he was 14. That's one thing. But like, you know, just the early on stuff and like, you know, just being exposed to it, it's kind of questionable as to whether like, you know, how much of this was like Kanye just acting of his own volition, rather than having been like, you know, wrongfully exposed to this stuff and essentially driven on this path as a very young child.
Oh, nigga, you gay.
I'm just saying, like, I think it's valid to say that, like, if you're a little kid like that, like 6 years old, 7 years old, whatever, and you're exposed to this sort of shit and you're not really talked about any of this, that it can be very damaging. It can be very damaging. I mean, I don't know what drove him exactly to do that with his cousin, but because he says like he wanted to reenact what he saw, but I just don't know. I don't know. I don't think I would have been necessarily drawn toward that if I even saw that when I was like 7 or 8, though. I would have thought this is gross. No, I don't know. If I were like younger, I don't know, man. I just don't think I would be like, you know, I don't think I would have been in Kanye's position where I was like, oh, I need to do that, you know?
That could not be me. That's all I'll say.
That's what I'm agreeing with. It just couldn't be me, but I don't know, man. It's like a lot to unpack there, I guess you could say. Now, ASAP Ferg, who's a rapper, huh? Phrasing. Yeah, okay. ASAP Ferg, another rapper, a fellow rapper, actually congratulated Kanye West for saying this, for putting this out. He said, good for at Kanye West, or good for Kanye, or yay. Now you can be whole. Phrasing. When people start to act out, you never know the root of the issues. Sending love, brother. And he put the wrong your, but you're a goat. And then you can see the first comment there. It's, you know, somebody says he's not going to suck you, bro. People are really hopping on this as far as Dog and Kanye. People are really hopping on this as far as Dog and Kanye.
Phrasing.
It's kind of, I just, maybe Kanye legit feels that like relief, man, out of, I can't stop thinking about the phrasing, dude. There's nothing I can say to make it not weird. When maybe Kanye feels a sense of I don't even know what to say at this point. Maybe Kanye feels unburdened, okay, by this because he's put it out to the public and he was able to do so at a time where he was basically saying the most outrageous stuff possible. And so when he puts this out, of course, people react to it greatly, like, you know, in big numbers, but also it was just at the right time, I guess, if he ever wanted to say it, because he was already doing so much absurd stuff that it just kind of like people are even, I don't know. I mean, like, you know, obviously people aren't really questioning for the most part, you know, because they're kind of like, it just seems like it should be real at that point if he's talking about it. But at the same time, they're like, you know, I guess they wouldn't have taken it the same way earlier in his career if he had said something like that, where instead of saying like, hey, yo, and like, you know, whoa, this is like, you know, pause Kanye and stuff and making fun of him, but then like still listening to the music, it could have like really hurt his career maybe, especially based on how he revealed it, I guess. But I feel like there are other ways you could have gone about it that like, if you really wanted to talk about that, that probably would have been taken more serious by people if that's how you wanted it to happen. Maybe he didn't. But if that's what he actually wanted from people, then I could see that having been something that he said, like, you know, in a more artistic way through his music, rather than just saying this is straight up what happened. Maybe saying like, you know, I was traumatized or something, like some artistic way of speaking it out, or kind of revealing it in some sort of interview or something. I don't know, man. But I mean, I don't know if you really wanted that sense of relief from exposing the fact that it happened, but I guess that was just Kanye's way of doing it, man. Like, you know, he really wanted to, let it out, and he thought, what better time than when I am literally saying all these things that people think I will never come back from, and that, you know, like people are saying, you know, I'm just crazy for, and now they know I'm rage baiting anyway, so let me just say it, you know. But let me see here. Let me look up a certain tweet from our boy. Well, at this point, you may not say he's our boy because, you know, of what he did, but, you know, Kanye West over here has still not ceased to be funny in spite of all of this. And if you were to listen to the whole,
I have not claimed him as my boy. Erase that. Redact that.
Undo this. Hold on. So yeah, I can't show the either. Oh my god, dude. What is he putting on his Twitter, dude? I cannot show this. Jesus Christ. He's looking at like cartoon images. And asking for somebody to work with him that's drawing them. And it's quite vile. It's quite vile. It's a good thing I'm not just showing his Twitter as I'm scrolling. I knew I couldn't do this, but I need to show the specific tweet.
That link is damaged.
He is saying that he's going to bring Yeezy Corn back, apparently, because he said, well, I don't know if that's Rage Bait too, but he was saying, like, I love the artist for this. Tell him to work with me at Yeezy Corn.
No, when you say corn.
No, I mean the P version of that. Right.
Just clarifying.
Oh, he reposted Zerka.
Huh?
He reposted Zerka. John Zerka.
Interesting. What was the tweet?
He just posted the same exact caption that Zerka posted, but screenshotted the actual image of Zerka's tweet. But it's Zerka. It's like Zerka. I can't really describe what's happening there either. It's not fruity. Hold on. Let me see if I can find this tweet though, because Kanye, it was a pretty damn good tweet. I'll be real. Hold on. Wait, this one's even better. Hold on. Kanye is like laughing at it too. Let me post this one. Hold on. So look at this one. He said, okay, this is kind of funny. And this is something somebody else posted. Kanye West, his cousin. Let me see if I can share the image in another time.
It took me a bit.
Yeah. There we go. Now you can see it. But apparently Kanye, I don't know if he was saying that because he was having a hard time laughing at it and now he can because of that or what. But apparently the Weinstein bit got him. So let's see. Apparently he tweeted out "cuck the world" in all caps. Kanye is like quote tweeting Wojaks at this point, like people that are Wojak replying to him. Kanye is just very he's become chronically online. Let's see. Dude, I don't know if I can find that tweet though. I don't know. There's so much on Kanye's Twitter that I wish I could share with you guys, but I can't. Apparently, he said 2 days ago, I'm white. Or no, it was yesterday. Sorry. I'm white, and I decided today I'm white. Those were two different tweets. But he did post the I'm white first, then the I decided I'm white after. So basically, he's explaining to you what happened with that first one.
Yeah, I was going to actually ask what sequence they were in.
Yeah. No, I knew you would. So I just kind of went for it. But he tweeted out, now that people think I'm gay, am allowed to say the F word. But it still went against X's rules. Sorry. So basically he got like kind of, you can't tweet, like retweet, or I don't think you can even like it. Oh, another one was, my bitch owns nudity and I own racism. You can't be naked unless my bitch says so. No wonder he's calling his album cuck though.
Can we say that, or am I thinking of Twitch?
You might be.
All right.
I mean, this is what he's calling his album.
Record. I was thinking about this, and I was also watching a lot of like YouTube docs because I was really bored on like Twitch streamers and shit. I don't think there's any possible way we could ever last on Twitch after like looking at the shit that it's like no way.
No.
I don't know how someone like Destiny even managed to stay on there for as long as he did. Because he's like still pretty like,
yeah, I don't know,
pushing the envelope, I guess I could say.
Well, anyway, I'm trying to find the tweet, but I don't know if I'm going to find it. Basically, somebody was saying like, dude, I thought I found it. Hold on. Well, anyway, somebody basically tweeted like Kanye something with his cousin, and then he said, my name's Ye. And so like it seemed the qualms he had with that post was the fact that they didn't use the word Ye instead of or the name Ye instead of saying that, like, you know, making a joke about him and his cousin.
Gay?
No, Ye. He wants to be called Ye, not Kanye West, you know?
Yeah. I was just saying.
So somebody had called him Kanye.
Seems like he's gay now, not Ye.
Oh, I see. Would you spell that? How would you spell that?
You could spell it with just replacing the Y and the G, or you could spell it like gay.
Okay. So let's see. Let me see here. So yeah, we took a look at that. Oh yeah, so I was going to update you guys on something that happened vis-a-vis the iDubbbz, Ethan Klein thing, Hassan, whatever, you know, all this stuff that we've been seeing. The Hassan, basically Hassan and Ethan war here. But basically Asmongold was talking about, and we're just going to show. Let me see if I can see this.
Sam Hyde's favorite streamer?
Asmongold. Huh? Yeah, Sam Hyde's favorite streamer. He revealed that Hassan had offered him thousands of dollars in gifted subs to watch an Ethan Klein hit piece made by one of his orbiters, and Asmongold didn't do it. But he actually talked about the fact that it happened.
Made a video that was critical of Ethan and other content creators when they're talking about Israel and Palestine.
I think that Ian is running defense for this by saying and framing it in that way. When the title of the video is the YouTubers that backed it. Like, I'll show you the video. This is the one that Hassan wanted me to Hassan wanted to, how many subs was he going to gift me if I watched this video? the whole thing on stream. It was like a huge amount, right? He really wanted me to watch this. And the YouTubers who backed the genocide, 500 subs. Yeah, there it was. And like, to say that a YouTuber backs a genocide, this is a pretty heavy accusation, right? This is a really heavy accusation. This isn't being critical of how they are talking about the Israel-Palestine conflict. This is someone saying that not only are you talking about it, but you are actively promoting the ethnic cleansing of a group of people.
So I thought that was interesting information that Asmund Gold put out, that Hassan is trying to bribe people basically into dogging Ethan Klein here, to the point, that it reeks of desperation to get the one up on the guy. And I mean, he's clearly using everything he can to manipulate viewers into being against H3. I mean, despite I'm not saying H3 is, I've never at any point been saying H3 is great, H3 is perfect, I like H3 or his content or any, but I'm just saying, man, the amount of hate that has been sent his way seems pretty excessive to me. I'm saying, as far as the level that it has been to, or I guess more the techniques that have been used against him. We've talked about the CPS thing. I mean, we've talked about this Hassan thing now. I didn't look into it too much, but I also heard that there was some stuff Ethan Klein was being sent. I don't know if you had seen about that, but I don't know about that. I don't know the legitimacy of that. I have not looked into that, but I'm just saying, according to Ethan Klein, there has been stuff even sent to him that definitely crosses lines for any sane person. I don't know if it's true. I'm not saying that's what I'm saying about it. I'm just saying if it were true, that's what I would say. It could be real. It could be fake. I don't know. I don't have the context.
So this all started because of their disagreement on Palestine, right?
I mean, this all follows Ethan's content nuke, right? I mean, because I don't remember seeing any of this before that.
Well,
really. And they had that falling out,
That's what I'm saying. The falling out was because of that.
But I really remember everything escalating after this content nuke. But yeah,
well,
this all seems to be leading from that dispute,
right? But I was just trying to get to the source of why they even had a split to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, it's like this it was that issue that they were talking about, as far as I can tell, because even what was his name, Sean from Actual Justice Warrior, sorry, I couldn't remember his name, was just talking about this, and he was saying he was showing the clips, and he was like, yeah, pretty much this is where Ethan and Hassan were disagreeing on this, and it was the fact that I had been talking about for a while, that Ethan's just well, I don't know if you could really say the children themselves are to blame for this, and then Hassan's kind of saying no, they are, and then there's this whole dispute about who involved is actually guilty or not, or deserving of certain things that we will not talk about. That's just what they're talking about, but basically they had a dispute on that, and the leftists didn't like what Ethan had to say there.
It just seems to me if you did care that much about this issue, you'd be doing something a little more productive. Than going after a YouTuber.
Yeah. No. But this is all leftists can do. This is all leftists can do. They can only go talking bad about people or doing bad things to people that are oftentimes, maybe not all the time, but the little guy, or Ethan's not really the little guy, but I just mean people that aren't really involved in actually doing anything regarding the actual warfare or any of that. We're not talking about big players here that are involved in this or going after them or stuff like that. We're talking about going after content creators who, again, they're not the little guy. A little guy would be you or me, or because we're not huge or anything, but the podcast ever is the only podcast around, so of course we'd be the big guys. But I'm just saying, it's not like we're talking about nobodies. We're talking about people that have a platform and are saying things about the situation. But again, it's not like you're even going after somebody that's saying something completely opposite of you, that's saying vile things that needs to be put to an end because this person's saying the worst things possible, and is really just driving an audience toward worsening the situation somehow with how they're, I don't even know how you'd be worsening it. I guess maybe they're investing money into the situation because of this person, something like that. But you're not really seeing anything like that, caused by this. So of course it's just the most counterproductive thing, right? I mean, if anything, it's making you look worse. And actually, the whole iDubbbz, content cop thing on Ethan was actually so hated that people are actually siding with it more now.
Yeah, I was just gonna say though, the only argument Well, first all what I'll say is, like, even if you did take down Ethan, even if you had this big, major cancellation, that's what this is basically. It's a cancellation attempt. It's not like iDubbbz where he's just originally with the content cops, he was pointing out an issue, which I mean, I guess you could consider it to an extent a cancellation, but that wasn't really the goal. But even if you did cancel Ethan or whatever, how would that in any way like do anything to the Israel-Palestine situation?
You know, I think people might just want to feel like they're doing something. And so when they don't feel like they have control over the situation, they want like some control over somebody. And when they can make this like boogeyman that they can go after that isn't really actually the real problem or anything, but they can say we got them, they feel better about themselves, or at least they think they will in the moment. And then, you know, at least as they're getting like some wins, or maybe like, you know, it's like, oh, he got owned, they're feeling like, man, I really am doing something with my life or my day or, you know, whatever.
Like, the most I could see is, as an argument, is Hila was in the IDF, but
Yeah.
A, you don't know what she did there. B, I mean, it's not a great argument. Even if she did do something, you could argue taking orders. C, she's not there right now. So she's not
Yeah.
directly responsible for any of what's happening now anyway.
Yeah. And
So
also
it's
like, I
like,
mean, not even just the taking orders thing, but like, it's like, you know, they're kind of forced to do that.
yeah,
I don't
you're
know,
literally
you know, if
conscripted.
right. And so you could say like, oh, well, you know, she didn't like, you know, have to do every last thing she did if there was something that you could prove she did. And it's like, oh man, that was excessive or whatever. It's like, she didn't have to just do that to save her own life or something like that. Or like, you know, say, keep herself from being imprisoned, or you could even make the argument, oh, if it were me, like I'd go, you know, to prison or something rather than do this because that's so vile. How could you do that? You know, whatever. But they're not really, they're just kind of saying she was in that, even though it's like, you're just required to. And it's like, that doesn't mean that it's good to be in it, but it also means like, you know, if you're doing it out of no other choice for yourself, it's like, well, like how self-sacrificial do you think people should be when it comes to these sorts of things?
Yeah, and I mean that's another topic to go on with leftists in particular, but I'll put that at bed for now. But yeah, this just seems like really blown out of proportion for no reason whatsoever. Like, it's fine to like have a disdain or a dislike for somebody if somebody's on the other side of an issue that you consider to be really important like that. I'm not really taking a side either way here, because quite honestly, I don't really care that much right now. But like, why would you go out of the way to like try and destroy them? It's really strange to me. Like, if I had like let's say even a heated disagreement with somebody and it led to a falling out, I kind of get over it after a week. If it was that bad, maybe a month, and I'm probably not going to do anything about it unless there's like more, you know, ramping up, which I guess they could argue from their point of view. They did see it as ramping up, but I mean, I don't know, dude. The other thing is like, even when you're doing stuff like this, you're putting yourself in a position where if you fail, you just look like a retard, which they kind of do right now.
Well, iDubbbz definitely does. And
Yeah,
I mean,
guy,
dude, it's like, I mean, like people have been even comparing like the screenshot of him crying to the one where he's like, you know, with Hassan and they're like, it's your like time's up, Ethan, or whatever it is. And it's like, how can you take this guy serious when this is him? Like, he's just crying at the end. It's like, how can you take him serious, dude?
have you seen I don't remember if I was looking at this on my own or if he showed it on the show or whatnot, but people were sharing his like the screenshot of him crying around, and like the response was, "Oh my god, it's so sub to care about your wife." That's like a response. It's like, even if that were the case, why would you leave that in the video that's supposed to be like a takedown on Ethan that just kind of kills the
he
vibe?
still wants to seem like he's the good guy. So it's like, if you're empathetic, it's like, oh, you're the good guy, you know? That's how he sees it. And that's why he
he's
added
the
all
woman.
that, like, right. And that's why he added all those good things about Ethan that these people were saying, like every person that was like coming to take him down and stuff. You know, that what the fuck was the name of that frog nigga? Like, you know, all those people, like, you know, and
Froggy Fresh?
no, that like Arab chick, you know, the one that's called like Frog or some shit, dude.
What?
Dude, the one that has the fucking hijab that's called like Frog or some shit, bro. Like Frogger or something like that.
They call her Frog.
Frogger or whatever it was, dude. Froger.
That sounds like a slur.
Bro, something like that, man. Like that. Bro, she was literally called like Froge or some shit. I don't know.
Do they have
Frogen?
Frogger on the App Store?
Frogen. That's what it was. Frogen.
Oh.
That's what it was, dude.
Yo, you know they made Frog and Toad gay?
No, I didn't. I
thought we
didn't.
talked about this before. But yeah, they made Frog and Toad gay.
Why?
There was literally no reason. I don't know. I don't even think they're making books anymore.
I don't know if we talked about that, but that's actually weird. Why?
I feel
When did they like?
maybe I
when
talked
did they
about it with
add
somebody
this?
else. It's like the like J.K. Rowling thing. Now that even though all of her work is done, she's just like, oh, actually, Hermione was Asian. It's like unnecessary. Why would
Oh,
you
like
do
it
that?
wasn't added into the books.
As far as I know, I didn't actually look too deep into it. This was like years ago, though. By the way, this just reminded me when you started talking about fucking Frogger.
Was Hermione Asian?
No, there's like people were like clowning on her for saying that because she claimed that she was Asian after the fact, but people would find like an excerpt from the book.
Oh, did she actually? I thought that was just like some stupid retarded example.
No, she actually did that, and somebody found like an excerpt from the book where it
No, I
said
didn't.
Hermione's white face or whatever. So, yeah,
She's not even Asian in the movies.
no, she's not.
I didn't get to the last part of the book series. I got like to 5 and I quit because it got boring. Apparently, a lot of people say it's a bad book. My boy Zarias was actually talking about this with me because he said he got to that book too and stopped there. And then the thing
Order of
is,
the
like,
Phoenix?
isn't it?
I'm not sure. I'm thinking
I
it's
think it
6,
is.
but I think it is 5.
It should be Order of the Phoenix. I think so. But anyway, it was the thickest damn book in my life. And so I just was like, kind of like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to read these. Like, I loved Harry Potter before that. I was like, I don't know. I watched the movies. But what he tells me, I didn't even know about this. Apparently, like, Harry and Hermione were supposed to end up together, but they put Ron with her. And then, like, apparently in the books, he ends up with Hermione. I didn't know that was a switch they did.
I actually finished the book series, and I didn't recall that.
Is he capping?
That there's like a switch up.
Chad, is he retarded? Should I call him up? I don't think he'll answer me right now.
You can just hold on.
But anyway, Harry. Let me look this up. Does Harry end up with Hermione in the books? That's actually a common Google search. No, Harry. No, okay. So he was capping. No, Harry and Hermione did not end up together in the Harry Potter books. J.K. Rowling's website has stated that Hermione, and Ron were intentionally paired, and that the bond between Harry and Hermione was a platonic friendship. Harry married Ginny Weasley, and Hermione married Ron Weasley.
Why would why would you think it was pronounced like that? Holy shit.
He didn't end up with her in the movies, did he? Or did he?
No, he didn't. But it was really weird and
Now I can't
forced
even
because
recall.
the whole series, it seemed like it was Hermione and Harry, if anything. I don't remember if it was that
Right.
forced in the books, but
Apparently, I don't know. I guess she had, like, I don't know if she wanted them to end up together or not, but what he was telling me of the story was, like, apparently that, like, they were telling her that it would make sense for them to end up not together so that Ron wouldn't be alone, and so that Harry would have, like, instead of Harry and Hermione being together and Ron being alone, that, like, they would both have somebody or whatever, or all have somebody.
I mean, yeah, it just didn't seem like that's what the plan was. It seemed like a last minute thing, at least in terms of the movies. Again, I can't remember for the books because I was watching the movies at the same time as reading the books, so they all kind of blurred together.
You want to hear this Quora answer? So, to why did Harry and Hermione not to get together in the book or the movies? Did J.K. Rowling intend for them to be a couple? The first answer is from Viola Forkman saying, because Hermione deserves to be a great character of her own rather than the hero's girlfriend.
Okay.
Yeah.
That
made me like fucking, oh shit, dude.
Oh shit, my fault.
Sorry. My browser was acting up.
You know how brave.
But you were saying?
What did you recall I was saying?
No, you were about to say something and I accidentally interrupted you because the glitch in my browser caused there to be a delay.
Oh. Probably wasn't anything substantial then.
Okay.
But yeah, point
Nothing to do with
is,
Harry and
Frog and
Hermione
Toad
or-
is gay.
oh. Unfortunate.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what we got here. So we talked about cousins. So should Kanye have kept that to himself?
I would have. But now I'm happy that I have the info for reasons.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, so let's see. Let's see here. We are going to talk about Myron Gaines of Fresh and Fit going to college campuses to debate students. Is Myron Gaines the new Charlie Kirk? We are going to see. Okay, so let's watch this 2-minute clip from Myron Gaines updates. It's Wyron instead of Myron, I guess, because his account, he needs a different account for that clip. I think that might be some clip like poster separate from Myron. I don't know. It says this is not Myron, not an official account, but he still posted the clip that we are going to watch. And this is Myron's official content. He just kind of like edited it a little bit by adding like some sound effects and stuff, but we're still going to see what Myron talks about on the campuses. Is Uncensored America? Hold on. Let me look that up real quick. That I need to figure out some more about because I don't know. Uncensored America is a registered 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to fighting for freedom of speech. So they might have brought Myron in, I want to say, but they have some events. So let me see. He's going to he already went to the University of South Carolina, April 22nd. They're doing Wilson versus Adamir in University of North Carolina, Asheville on the 28th, which is a debate on whether Christians should support a certain political movement of a country abroad. They've had Milo Yiannopoulos in the past. Elijah versus Destiny, which is Elijah Schaefer. Alex Stein versus Gavin McInnes. Doyle versus Avalon. I barely remember Hunter Avalon, bro. Milo versus Destiny. Laura Loomer. Gavin and Alex, which is Alex Stein. Doyle and Wu. I don't know. Brianna Wu. I don't know who that is. I've heard that name. I don't know who that is. Yeah. So a lot of these people that are more controversial voices, and so obviously they want to bring these people in front of different audiences, and of course that gets donations because obviously people like they like extreme things, whether those extreme things are right or wrong. It draws people's attention.
Brianna Wu.
We're gonna watch Myron here though.
Brianna Wu is a Decepticon.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is still. Like I just don't know who that is. I've heard the name. I don't know who that is. Like I understand this much information.
I think I saw them in a video. I don't remember what they were talking about though. But yeah, you looked it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a passing Decepticon. I remember what the context was.
Dude,
this was when I was watching the video.
This nigga tried posting. Oh, is that actually like? Is this actually a real profile photo or what? Because I believe that this Wu individual has unless this is a different one that's posting on Blue Sky, probably not. But no, it still is trying to very much deceive people on the looks with take it filters and makeup.
I was watching a video on the whole Destiny shit. Destiny and his like gang of his harem of like orbiters when they got outed as working for like a political club or whatever. That person was brought up in the video. Progressive Victory? Yeah, that's what it was. So it seems like Uncensored America is just kind of whatever.
Okay, so this is the same person. I need to show the images.
Oh boy.
I need to show the images because the difference is astounding. I just need to show you. So this is probably the image you're familiar with. Unfortunately, you're gonna have to look at this for a second. Can you confirm this is Wu?
That's the one.
And how is this yet a blue sky profile of the same individual?
You can still kind of tell, but that's pretty criminal. How bad that is.
But yeah, how is this the same person? I mean, you can tell like the fact that it's a, Decepticon, but at the same time, it's like these do not look, and I'm gonna have to flash the other image again just for reference. This is apparently supposed to be the same thing as this. And then we're gonna look at, hold on. So this is still supposed to be the same individual? That was horrid. But anyway, look at this. Like you're telling me, I'm gonna have to mute that. I don't want to listen to that. But look, you're telling me this is the same person? You're telling me this is the same person I just looked at 2 seconds ago right here? What?
You're saying that person is I can't even do I was gonna do like a
This one is from 8 hours ago. And the other photo is from like 2017. So okay, so you're telling me that individual went through several cosmetic procedures as well as the makeup to look like that? That's crazy. This is what modern medicine can do? That is crazy.
We're so cooked.
You're telling me it could turn, I mean, come on now. This is criminal. We need to lock whoever did this up. I mean,
For real.
Christ, man. You cannot be doing this. This is not this like violates public safety laws or something, I swear. You cannot tell me that this is allowed. That this is allowable. Okay, anyway, we're gonna watch the Myron clips, man. I don't want to see that anymore. Okay, so I watch the Myron clips.
You just had to look it up, didn't you?
I was astounded by the criminal difference.
Well, I mean, looking up what Uncensored America was, I mean that's what started it.
Yeah.
Oh man, here we go.
Okay.
Hello.
Do I deserve more
And we get to see another one right here.
or less?
Are you a man or a woman? Oh man, here we go.
Okay.
Hello.
Do I deserve more or less?
Are you a man or a woman?
What
I'm
the
asking
fuck?
you. Do I deserve more or less?
Well, probably less.
Even now, when my voice is lower than yours.
Bro. You know, RFH posted like posted like some dude. Well, I don't know if I can call that some dude, but there was a individual who also is a male identifying as a woman that had approached this woman on a stage that was talking about something that perhaps went against this male presenting as a woman's ideology. And that male presenting as a woman had done a voice change when upset that was very deep, similar to this. Just like, it's ma'am. So, I mean, I don't know why Myron had to ask. I guess maybe for the funniness of that question, but I mean, at the same time, it's like you can. I don't know if he can tell from maybe it's further distance for him.
I could tell for sure there was something
right.
off.
You could tell immediately even before this person spoke, but Myron might be at a further distance than we're getting with this camera angle, so I'm not sure. But he was able to ask that. He was able to identify that pretty quickly anyway. So I don't know, but
even less now because women only get.
Even if
Do I
the
deserve more or
distance,
less?
you could tell from the voice.
Well, probably less.
Even now, when my voice is lower than yours.
Even less now, because women only get in line when you have other women in line. Now I know that. What was that?
He said you're not welcome on campus, prick.
Oh, look at this guy. Nice jorts. Nice jorts.
Hey, I have another question. Do you know who invented Wi-Fi? Like the technology for Wi-Fi?
These are bad arguments, dude.
I don't even want to say anything.
Wi-Fi?
Let me guess, a woman?
But why are you staring at him like that is my question.
Nice jorts.
Hey, I have another question. Do you know who invented Wi-Fi? Like the technology for Wi-Fi?
Look at that stare, man. I'm just... This isn't the Minecraft movie. You can move along.
Let me guess, a woman?
Well, yeah. So if it wasn't for a woman, your podcast, you wouldn't have one, and it wouldn't have gotten demonetized.
Oh, good one. Yeah, so here's the thing. We do direct connect on our pod, so
I don't care.
Wi-Fi is now it's I don't care. Okay, great.
Hello.
Yeah, and I like how that was like, oh, that's what you use for your podcast. It's like, actually, I don't. Oh, I don't care. I don't care. Then why'd you come up with that?
Yeah, that's not a good argument to begin with. Like, even if it is true, which I have my doubts on.
Sir?
Make sure to hit the gym as well.
Sir? Hey,
Hey, just being honest, man.
sir?
You're. Yeah, look at this guy. Look at this guy.
Sir,
hey,
if you're here to
the
have
girls
a
aren't gonna fuck you,
conversation,
man.
I'm trying to have one with you.
I like how she's like aggressively trying to get him to talk to her. Bro, it's like, I mean, come on now. You're coming up to this guy on the microphone. Obviously, he just got in a bit of a quarrel with the person before you. You're just in a rush to say your political statement and leave and feel like you owned him when you didn't. So, I mean, obviously, she's like, you know, she has this moment where she's like, sir, 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 sir. And it's just not working because he doesn't just give you attention when you say, sir. It doesn't work on people that aren't just fucking ridiculous, dude. This only works in iDubbbz.
Wakey, wakey, Myron.
Like the girls aren't gonna fuck you, bro. White knighting is not gonna do it.
Okay, hi. Would you like to have an actual conversation?
This is fucking awesome.
I love that. That's great. That's great.
It's a learned skill that they need to develop to learn how to properly deal with women. So
Why
that
do
they
you
don't
need to
end
learn
up-
how to deal with people?
See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. I teach guys to avoid women like you, as a matter of fact.
Thank you. Stay away
Yeah.
from me.
Yeah, well, I don't know. You should be in the kitchen somewhere, but it's fine. We'll have this discussion. Because a man's job is to be a leader and be assertive and convey information. And women, you guys supposed to be quiet and make sandwiches. That's the difference.
You can make your own sandwich. If you need to take a crash course on how to talk to other people, you can take a crash course on how to make a fucking.
This lady doesn't even seem like pleasant to be around at all.
Honestly, it's giving me the same vibes as the first one a little bit. Like, obviously it isn't, but
Yeah.
a little bit. You know what I mean?
This one has some cans, but you know, but at the same time, her face is all puffy, and you know, she's just
Yeah,
acting
that's a
like a
lot of-
bitch.
She's not beating.
No.
Sandwich.
Anyway,
If you're such a strong provider,
sound,
provide.
you sound mad that what like. Do you know how to make a sandwich?
Yeah, I do. Want me to teach you?
So, I mean, she's saying if you're such a strong provider, provide. What does that mean? Like, make the sandwich and make the income and do everything else? Like, oh, well, I should just be able to sit on the couch all day.
Providing means doing literally everything.
Well, providing means giving me everything I want when I give you none of what you want.
Correct.
That's what that means. But, you know, when I point that out, you're going to get mad like this and say, ah, you can't do that. That's wrong. That's evil.
No, thank you. That's
I'm evil.
It's a woman's job.
I think you mentioned you have an open relationship, but specifically on your end.
Only
the modern state of college campuses is something, isn't it?
I did not see this many people that looked like this when I went to college. That's all I'll say.
But dude, I'm just saying, like, it's like somehow I know they're obviously like attracting these kinds of people by making these sorts of like, you know, appearances, but it's just ridiculous how every time there's somebody, I mean, more than one person like this per event. per event. That, and every time it's somebody arguing against their positions, you know, it's always like somebody that just doesn't look right.
You
I
know,
mean, that alone should tell you something.
like you know, that's an ad hom to describe someone's like appearance, but you know, I'm starting to think at a certain point, you know, like if you can, especially if you like indicate that there's something biologically wrong, and we know that does affect the mind, at a certain point you probably can make the argument that you look dysgenic. You can't make a good argument.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, like, obviously, you know, we have to take that at, you know, not just face value where it's like, oh, well, if I can point out literally any flaw with you, that means nothing of what you're saying can be taken as accurate. I don't believe that's what you're saying, but obviously somebody might take that to mean that. But obviously, if we're looking at certain individuals who do have features that are indicative, sorry, of high stress, right? Of a high stress environment and lifestyle and all that, I think at that point you actually would kind of have to, like, you know, evaluate this more and say, like, you know, is this, you know, person able to make rational conclusions? Because if your stress hormones are up, I mean, at that point you're quite literally, I mean, just operating on stress. Who knows, like, what you'd even say? You know, obviously you'd be less rational than somebody that isn't involved in that, has like their hormones right, and thus can exercise like calmly without, you know, just getting emotional all of a sudden. And clearly that seems to be very highly linked. I don't know. I mean, like, you know, they're like, oh, correlation doesn't equal causation, but like, it seems to be the case that these people not only look high stress, but they actually act very emotionally and actually are not very reserved when it comes to making their own arguments. They tend to yell. They tend to get upset very quickly. They tend to freak out. They tend to lash out. I mean, it's very linked to the way they look. So obviously we're drawing a lot of clues here that are telling you this is a high stress individual. This is a person that is going to say anything they can to feel like they have won in some way, or, you know, embarrassed you in some way. That is their goal.
Yeah. It's just kind of phenomenal how frequently the overlap is there. That's just what I've been noticing.
Yeah.
On my end, yeah.
So you take the nuclear family, which is a
Please say nuclear. Please say nuclear.
I was gonna say the exact same thing.
Nuclear. Bro, I remember people saying, like, I forgot where it was, like Zaxby's or something. They have like a nuclear sauce. Oh, the nuclear sauce. I couldn't even say it right that first time. I had to like force it. Nuclear sauce. Oh, stop.
a loyal and faithful husband.
Why was that woman's mouth wide open? She was ready for it, dude. Look at her right there.
Jesus.
A loyal and
Several glizzies.
faithful husband.
Only women could be sluts. We are the slut makers.
I like how their mouths open as soon as, you know, it just seems like they're, you know, I don't know. I'm just saying. They're in the presence of a man that is making them do that, is all I'm saying. This one looks like she has Down syndrome, dude. This one in the middle with the glasses. Jesus, dude. She looked like, I mean, legit, like for like 2 seconds there were 2 frames you could pull out where it's like, that's straight Down syndrome.
This girl's over here trying to call me a slut. Hey, we're the slut makers, man. There's no such thing as a man that's a slut.
Okay, I kind of missed out. Oh, this chick looked like she had fetal alcohol syndrome if I go back to her, but look at this one. Hold on. Dude, you're telling me, like, come on, man. Look at that.
Especially in that frame.
Look at that. Literally looks like a Down syndrome patient. Now, look at this chick. Looks like Greta Thunberg. Looks like she has fetal alcohol syndrome. I'm just saying. It does look like that. That's all. I'm not saying anything about her as a person for that. I'm just saying it looks like that.
Hey, we're the
It
slut.
reminds me of somebody that has that based on this facial structure objectively. I'm not trying to make that like, you know, a big thing.
Makers, man. There's no such thing as a man that's a slut.
Hey, so I really
But like, do you agree though? Because I mean, it just looks like it, dude.
I'm not too familiar with that to actually be able to point it out.
Let's pull up a chart. Hold on. Let me pull up a chart of it. People usually point to like Greta Thunberg as looking like she has it, but I mean, look at like this, or I guess that's, you know, it's gonna be a little hard to. Let me open it in a new tab. Okay. and open the image. The symptoms are small head, mid face, smooth Cupid's bow, thin upper lip. Now let's go back to her. Okay, well, she doesn't have the thinnest upper lip, but I could, she definitely has a flat mid face, I would say. Definitely looks like she does. Does she have a smooth? Yeah. Doesn't her upper lip? I mean, typically with women, it probably will be, no, but does look like it. Small eye opening. It kind of looks like that. Just maybe it's the sun. I don't know. Small head. Yes. Overall, yes. I'm seeing it. I don't know about you, but I'm gonna reshare it so that we can actually hear the audio when I play it again.
All right.
Your ideology is interesting. How do I apply it to my lesbian relationships?
Oh, well,
there you go.
You guys are useless in society, so.
I mean, come on, like right there. Come on, bro.
Yeah, I didn't look good there.
You see it?
Yeah.
You see this?
I don't know if I see it, but it does not look healthy. I'll say that.
This looks like Greta Thunberg. But anyway. That was the clip of Myron at a college. What do you think about that?
I think it's going to be better than Kirk for sure. It was already better than Kirk.
Yeah, I mean, Kirk is not going to say these kinds of things, dude. Kirk is going to be like, well, I think, women should have the exact positions as men in society, except for when it comes to being a mother and a father. Then you have a bit of a difference, but I'm not saying you shouldn't go to work. I'm not saying you shouldn't have, somewhat of a job or something. I'm just saying that, maybe you should also make sure that you're prioritizing your family.
Yeah, that's worked so well for us the past 50 years.
So anyway, I'm not sure if you're familiar, but are you aware that Sneeko and Zerka aren't too big of a fans of Fresh?
No.
So actually, this was in response.
They were always
specifically.
good.
I was just going to say this specifically. This one I'm about to play was just Sneeko reacting to the clip we just saw, and we're going to see what he has to say about how Myron is without Fresh. And then Zerka is even going to comment on it, or he did, but I'm just going to show it as well. And it's for a while though, it seemed like they're like this. Like they've made, comments before where they're like, oh, Fresh, he's just holding Myron back. He's not really bringing anything of value to the table. Like he's just there to, take half of Myron's money and not really do much with it. Stuff like that, like stutter and not really add value. That's taken a long time for him to mute. I'm not sure if he actually is going to, come back here. I was waiting on something from him.
Oh, it wasn't a question.
Well, I was just wondering your commentary on that.
Oh, well, I was going to say originally, it always seemed like they were much more fond of Myron than Fresh, but I didn't know it turned into an actual distaste like that.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and watch that Sneeko clip. Sneeko. No more sneaking, Sneeko. Okay.
And you know what's so great about
iDubbbz would say if he made a content cop on Sneeko. No more sneaking, Sneeko.
Yeah.
And you know what's so great about this? Look how much Myron shines without that dead weight leech around him, bro. Look how much more Myron's in his element without that stuttering reach, him making jokes about BBC. A 30-year-old man talking about dick. This is where Myron actually shines. Alone. He doesn't need that. He doesn't need to think about this. Be on a college campus, do your own streams, do your own debates. Looking at this and whoo, Fresh should be looking at this and thinking about it right now. Look.
You should be looking at this and thinking about it.
How much more aura this is. This is the best Myron clip that I've seen in 2 years. And the only difference is there's no length for girth. Are you on birth control? So, ladies, BBC? He's shining like this. I've never seen him so confident, not giving a fuck, less angry. It's beautiful. Fresh should be seeing this and thanking him right now. Thanking him right now and saying, please, 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 never leave me again, Myron. And you know what?
Yeah. So the comment from Zerka,
Thinking
basically
about
he was just kind of going on with what Sneeko was saying. This is easily his funniest clip / impression. Basically just talking about, Sneeko in terms of how he's talking about Fresh. But of course, that could just be taken as, not necessarily attacking Fresh, but, at the same time, Zerka is kind of saying something positive about what Sneeko is saying about Fresh. So if he had a problem with it, he would be speaking about it. But Zerka in the past himself has talked about him. He made a tweet in March where I'm just going to quote it from Zerka's Twitter instead of just showing it. I mean, I don't want to go through the whole process of, going back and forth on that, but he says Fresh literally gets 150 viewers when he goes live alone. He takes 50% of Myron's bag just to quote unquote network with high value guests like Sneeko and me. And we both avoid going on the show because of him. LOL. That's like millions and millions of views lost because of retard ego.
I could hear him saying that too.
Oh, if you were going to say Fresh literally gets 150 viewers when he goes live alone. He takes 50% of Myron's bag just to network with high value guests like Sneeko and me. And we both avoid going on the show. Like he would speak like that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I can say he's wrong.
Yeah, I can't really either. I don't know, man. I guess he adds sometimes like some funny stuff in there, but I don't know, man. I guess he adds to the dynamic. You don't want two Myrons in there either. Like if you're going to have a co-host.
That would not be great.
So, I mean, I think like, I wouldn't say like he's like, the worst edition of a guest or he's just straight up like, there for no reason, but I couldn't see it like he's getting 50% of the income for that. That's also another thing, I mean, if that's the truth, if what they're saying is accurate, because also at the same time, you can tell Myron puts a lot of work into this. The whole networking thing with Fresh, I don't know how much he's actually pulling in for the show. Like if he's networking with like Sneeko and Zerka, I mean, you bring them in once, right? And then they're guests and they just keep talking to you guys. I don't really know that he's like, networking, or if he's actually just kind of saying that he's doing it and, not really providing much.
Other guests that they have on, but the problem is, while those guests are technically high value, they're nowhere near as entertaining.
That's true too.
Like he only really brings guests on that are like, kind of like the Tate type, but not anywhere near as entertaining. Like
I have a word
about money. How I got this much money, I've been doing this, I got this many bitch. Like they're not really entertaining in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Outside of like the main ones that actually do vibe well with Myron more. So
I mean, that's the thing when you're bringing on those guys, it's for those Money Monday stuff and stuff where you're doing like this value, like, to it, where they're talking about how to get money and stuff like that, or, even like, game or whatever. But when you bring on somebody for that, like late night show, it's supposed to be more about the entertainment at that point. Obviously. I mean, that's what they're doing here. They're entertaining people. Right. I mean, it's like Myron says, oh, well, it's about showing you guys how they are. And you kind of do see that, but they're also bringing on like the worst of the worst. And at the same time, the whole point is kind of to have these big moments that, obviously that's just part of your marketing that get you notoriety, get you like clipped, clip farming, as it's said these days. That's literally the whole point. Now, I don't know how familiar you are with what's going on or what's been going on for a little bit now on Twitch, where there is basically like, women that just like they cover only the parts that are going to get them banned. And then they show like everything else. Have you seen this?
It's always been like that, but I assume they're taking it to an even more extreme degree now.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
I mean, this should be. I mean, this is basically like, huh?
So it's come to this.
This is about as much as you'd see like in a bikini anyway. But I think the whole point of it is to like, get people obviously, invested more by watching this. So I mean, if I were to show you this, I could show this. They're it's as if they're in bikinis, right? But I'm gonna show it. Like, look at that. They literally just cover. It's as if you're wearing a swimsuit anyway. Huh?
I see what you mean. Yeah, I've seen this before. I forget where.
Look as much alike as possible. Oh, well, we're not really wearing anything though. I mean, for all we know, they could be wearing something really, really like, just rolling down whatever they have to make it look like they're revealing almost. And then just using these like black boxes. But you see what they're doing, and they're thirsty and a mainstream app. On a mainstream app. And apparently this guy, I don't know if this person, it seems like it's not trolling. It was posted by Delusional Takes, but the quote here is, or the tweet here is, I absolutely adore these women pushing boundaries day after day. They're modern day versions of Rosa Parks or MLK, fighting the fight against centuries of women being told their figures are dirty or dangerous or can only be owned by men. Way to go, Jen Fox.
I mean, if it's dirty or dangerous that you're fighting against, I don't think. Well, I mean, maybe like a handful of Puritans did, but I wouldn't say anybody was like, "Oh, that's dirty or dangerous." Intrinsically, I don't think anybody was ever saying that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just these women are no different than the chicks doing OnlyFans at this point, man. Like, what's the difference?
See, here's the thing. It wouldn't be that big of an issue if they just did this on like an actual site like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, the thing with Twitch is it is kind of, so they're at least trying to be, failing miserably, by the way, trying to be kind of a family-friendly platform.
Right.
So they're bending the rules to this extent, and they very clearly they know what they're doing. And Twitch also very clearly sees what they're doing, and they're not doing shit about it. So it's kind of like...
Yeah, and also the problem is this stuff is accessible to young kids that can access the app anyway.
Right. So, like, to be fair, there's always the argument of, oh, they're going to look it up anyway, which, yeah,
but
sure.
But at the same time, they're being exposed to it if they didn't even know what to look up in the first place or didn't think about looking it up in the first place. Now they're being shown it. Like, we're talking about people younger than middle school. We're talking about, like, just kids that are scrolling this. Like, these kids aren't necessarily thinking about just looking that stuff up, like, unless they're somehow exposed to the idea of that. So this is really just showing them that. And it's, I mean, even so, like, I guess, like, also for the ones that are, a little older, teenagers that would be looking this up online. Now you're kind of like meshing it into what's considered like the normal part of the internet where, stuff that's usually more acceptable is supposed to go on here. And I mean, you can also make the argument that like, oh, well, they were trying to do that back in the day on YouTube too, with some of these clickbait thumbnails and stuff like that, or like whatever. But, it's just not good practice really to be targeting these groups with that stuff. Like, adults know where to go if they want that stuff anyway. So obviously who's this targeted toward other than teenagers or younger?
Yeah, I was going to say that.
I'm just saying, man, it's pretty scummy behavior. But they don't care. They just want them bucks.
British company, by the way.
Anyway, let's see what we have here. Let's read a Reddit story. Let's do that. We're going to, unless you have much else, we're probably going to wrap it up with that. We did want to show that stuff from last week, but I don't know, man. What did you send me? You sent me that guy that we didn't show. Let me see. And then we had like the Bella Ramsey thing, but honestly, that's kind of like everybody's talked about that on the internet. But it is ridiculous how she looks. Let me see. Why is it not here? My document that I need. Hold on. Let me try and look that up while I show this. So basically, we have a Reddit story here from another sexless marriage where, you guessed it, the guy feels the type of way about it. and he's getting screwed over because marriage locks him in. But let's see. Let's read this. My 45M wife, 41F, told me she never wants to have sex again, but wants to be married as best friends? It's over with the title. It's over. Let's see. We have been married for 13 years, 2 children, still young and in school. Our sex life has been almost non-existent the past 2 years, but now it seems like it's completely dead. She told me she will never want sex again. Wow, what a statement. I will never want sex. Imagine being told that. Like, it's not even the fact of like, oh, well, I mean, like, cause obviously there's one thing where it's like, I just don't want to do it right now. Right. And then, but here, never want to have it again. What a bold statement. And just want to stay married as best friends. This seems like it can't be real. It seems unreal. I mean, it could be. Maybe it even is. And I wouldn't even be surprised if it was. But it just, looking from an outside perspective, it's like, what the hell, dude? Could you imagine somebody actually saying this? Like, I mean, you can imagine it, but could you, like, in your younger years, have fathomed ever hearing a sentence like this? It's crazy. I'm sure this guy couldn't, especially like when he is, like first falling in love with her. I'm sure he couldn't have imagined that he'd ever hear this coming from her. But here's what he has to say. If I get divorced, I'm alone and I don't get to see my kids every day. If I stay, I don't have a partner that wants me. He's using the partner word. If she agrees to let me find sex elsewhere, if she agrees to, I have to start dating, and that's terrifying. I'm 45 years old. I don't want to date again. If I get divorced, same thing. I don't want to date at my age again. Plus, I love my wife more than anything except my kids. I want to be with her. I'm completely broken and shell-shocked, and I don't know what's going on to do. I mean, that was weirdly written at the end there. But sir. Oh, we have Humvee in the chat. Becky Smash. No, Ron. But yeah, point being, man, that is wild. I mean, first of all, the people that were replying to this, and there was a guy, Red Pill guy, that was tweeting about this. He tweeted because, this is his basically argument against marriage in the first place, because you get kind of screwed over in a position where you're screwed over because if something like this were to happen, you really have no way out, just as this man is saying, or, just in general, thinking of what it, happens when a man gets divorced. Get married, they said, is what he says. It'll be fun, they said. Happy wife, happy life, they said. And some of the comments that I'm reading here actually bring some things to light that we've been talking about, but as well may do that for our audience too, that has not seen perhaps those streams where we've talked about that. Let's see. So yeah, okay. So here's one I liked. Dude's a simp. 2 years and hardly any sex. 1 week and discussion should have been had. Now, that sentence, is one thing, but he is cooked. This is what happens when your significant other no longer respects you. You have to demand respect at all times. And then you have the guy replying, the main one, poster, the real Jaber, discussions. I would have gone on strike right away, meaning no labor, no provision, no protection, no emotional investment. She'll get the message. Let's see. Somebody said, guarantee he's fat. Also should love your wife at least as much as your kids.
I was also thinking he was fat.
They might both be fat because people were mentioning that. It's always fat people. But let's see. Yeah. Somebody said she's getting it from somewhere else. If not, then she's in a horrible mental state, probably jacked up on meds. Probably. Lose-lose situation. True. Now, here's another guy that quoted, if she agrees to let me sleep with other people. And what's below that is he needs her permission to sleep with her and other people. This is marriage. Pure sexual castration of men at the hands of women. It puts them in a position where they have that sort of leverage, is the truth. Whether or not, it is, like with her or someone else is the point that, even when she's saying, I don't want to do this with you, even ever again, you can't just go out and say, well, I may as well go out with other people because this is over.
Might as well.
Right, but you're gonna either get divorced, have to get a divorce because she's gonna force it, or then you just literally are sexually castrated because you can't go anywhere else because you have no other option. Because now it's like, what am I supposed to do? Humby says, I was thinking he was not fat, but she was. Also possibly. Also a possibility. But if he was attractive to her, I think she'd want to, no? Unless she is getting it from somewhere else, if she's cheating on him. Yeah, one comment said, he's fat and likely so is she. If she says he can go get sex somewhere else and he does, she will likely use that to take the kids and the money. True. Somebody said she's the man in the family. Go out and start dating. If it's scary, then start slow and supplement with some high-end paid providers. Of course, that is just outsourcing the wife's job. So those household funds now go into the Poon Fund. At the same time, start preparing for the divorce standard checklist. Why do you need to prepare for the divorce? Because you got married in the first place, but you screwed yourself. That's the thing, man. It's like people are like, oh, good luck getting married if you're not going to get good luck getting with somebody for an extended period of time that will have kids with you, build a life with you if you won't sign a contract with the state is what I'm trying to say here. But at the same time, it's like now there's a 50% chance you're completely fucked. And that's not even including the percentage of that other 50% that is just like a sexless marriage, and then will land you in this situation anyway if you try doing something about it, as in like leaving her or finding somebody else, either of these things. So now you're, no matter what, you're screwed. So we're already discounting like 50% of just literally separating and getting screwed over because of it. And now, like, again, there is some percent of that which is just going to be she doesn't want to have sex. And so it's like, now what am I going to do? Well, I guess I'm castrated.
Yeah, that nigga's fucked.
So it's like, for the people that say, you need to do it this way, you need to sign the legal contract, it's the only right way. Either you're religious and you're viewing that as like an official thing with the state where it's like it actually officiates the wedding, and thus, then you would not be engaged in fornication or anything like that. But the rest of the people, their only argument they resort to, oh, well, good luck finding somebody that's gonna be okay with that. It's like, that's not a good enough argument to do this to yourself. It's not. It's really not.
I think he needs to lose the pounds, and they probably wouldn't be in that scenario.
He doesn't want to. The problem now is, I think, is that he doesn't want to date outside of this marriage. Like,
he probably has low drive because
maybe.
of his shitty.
But also, like, the dating field is actually just horrendous these days, and especially being somebody that's 45 and getting back into it. I mean, unless you're just going for casual stuff all the time, it's going to kind of be sad. You're not going to like what you see unless you go to another country. But the thing is here, I'm thinking the problem he's in, the fact that he doesn't want to do that. And I think it's reasonable to say you don't want to do that when you've already been with somebody for like 20 years or whatever, how long it's been. And you just want to be in this. I mean, like, obviously, like, you could desire to have, relations, but just like the actual like aspect of building like that relationship, in which you have like this more emotional connection. You don't want to do all that now that you've done it. It's like, kind of like, do I really want to do that all over? It feels like you wasted the input that you already put into this one, right? So, you already feel like you've lost out on so many years of your life to this. And the problem is, I would think, is that what was I going to say? I think I lost what I was going to say there, actually. Let me rework this for a second. I got this. So he doesn't want to do that. Oh yeah. Here's what it was. I know what it was now. Thank you for believing in me. That actually sent a message telepathically through Wi-Fi that was created by a woman. So what happened is that, or what it would happen here is that he's not only invested all this time with her, but basically, like, at the same time, to even get into shape again, to try and get her back, like, you're already like fighting a losing front. So there's no real winning either way. Even if she's like, okay, fine, I'll start sleeping with you again. It's like, you've already kind of lost her respect in the first place. So, I mean, clearly something wrong has happened, too wrong to really even like want to correct at that point. Because if you do, you'll always know that, like, man, I lost this woman's respect. Even if you get it back, or to some extent, you'll be like, I don't know really though. She could turn on me again, So I mean, honestly, it's not really worth staying with her from that angle. And at the same time, the sticky situation is that if he gets divorced, then he gets fucked. So it's like, it's kind of over for this guy. It's just kind of over for him.
He could. Well, then he would lose the kids. So
Yeah.
that's the thing.
We're going to say go to another country that
I was
doesn't
gonna
have
say
extradition laws.
Fake his death, then go to another country.
I see. Go to Russia. But so it's an option. But anyway, he can say that he's under the political persecution of a pig. And they'll be like, "Oh, a capitalist swine," and he's like, "Yeah, that's kind of it, half right." But anyway, then he loses the kids. Man, that's kind of hard. That is kind of hard because now that you have those, and you're in a marriage, that's actually made it worse. That's actually made it worse. There's not much you can do there. There is I'm trying to think of a way out for this guy. I just can't. It would literally have to be fake your death or just, go to a country with no extradition laws, expatriate, like no longer you're a U.S. citizen. You find a new wife, you make a new family. That's it. That's how over it is for this guy. That's how over it is for him. That's his only choice.
Terminal levels of over, which I guess is kind of an oxymoron for redundant, but you get the point.
Yeah. Man, could you imagine being in this situation? I mean, I know you can, but just dude, imagine you weren't told about all of this before it became a problem. And then it becomes a problem for you and you don't even know what to do anymore because you didn't know what to do in the first place to avoid the problem. If it was the case in which I just didn't listen to my own advice and then I got screwed, I'd be like, man, I kind of deserve that. I kind of deserve that. But if I didn't even know to begin with and I entered this situation and this is where I got to, I'd be like, dude, why did nobody warn me? I'd feel wronged. I would feel wronged.
Real.
That would be the main issue. That I'd feel I was sold a lie. I feel like the good part about not being blue pilled, I know there's a lot of good parts about it, which is you can actually see reality for what it is. But I think the good part about not being blue pilled is that you can at least not be sold that lie, right? You can at least, and I guess that just kind of coincides with knowing the reality of it. But I mean, more so to already know what to do, already know how to approach things. Even if you don't get a favorable outcome, because we can't really say that every guy would. Right? I mean, I don't think that really changes much just because the guy knows about the problems that he's going to get a favorable outcome. It might actually hurt the chances of getting what would temporarily be considered this favorable outcome, even if in the end you get kind of screwed over by how this guy did. But you would have that period of oh man, better to have loved and lost than to never have loved. But then this guy gets screwed over for life. So is it really true? Is it really true?
Nah.
I don't think it is. Especially not in this case, where you're talking about getting legally married. Is it better to have gotten legally married, gotten fucked, and then, I mean, literally by the state, legally and financially and all that, spiritually, rather than, a literal act of intercourse.
That's the other thing too. With the not legalization in that sense, but making it a formality in the legal sense, you are kind of just devaluing the actual ceremony for people that actually do find marriage to be sacred to begin with. So now it just ends up being a transactional thing.
True. And I mean, I don't disagree that, the government has definitely done a lot to mess with it. And it would have, just viewing it from the lens of it being under a religious institution is still better. Because, at that point, there are still things that would reasonably a lot of the time invalidate it, infidelity. So at least at that point you could have more of a just system in which you could depending on which one it is, as far as reasonable divorce and such, to the point where and authority and all that in situations like this, to the point where you would have a lot more favorable outcomes than just people getting fucked.
Yeah.
I'm having some milk now. I've had this with me. Instead of just having to wait on my milk and leaving it in the carton and then it gets like warm room temperature, put it in a thermos.
We should end this so I can get milk.
All right, guys. You know what it is. You know what it do. You know what we are. But if you don't, we're the podcast.
The nitrous.
The podcast ever. Nitrous. I'm in love with the nitrous.